Let's talk about the assessment process.
Yeah, I think assessment is a term it's judgmental, but it's you judging yourself, so it's okay. I don't like to be judgmental ordinarily, but I think the assessment process, you need somehow to have a way to figure out how you're doing. And the book provides that with a couple of scales. They're in the appendix. And the basic idea here is to measure which of these character traits you in effect need to develop or want to develop more of, and where you are now and where you want to be, and each of the competencies. I think without some kind of a self-assessment process, you're kind of wandering out there in the dark. First of all, you haven't figured out what it is you want to work on, and this way you would. And secondly, you haven't got any way to decide how you're doing. So I think by having a book like this one, which says you find out where you want to go, you find out where you are and where you want to go, and then here's a way to measure how you're doing. I think that combination gives you something to work on, rather than just say, I want to be a better person. That doesn't cut it with me. I think that's a wonderful idea, but better person in regard to what? In regard to thinking or feeling about something? What is it? Or forgiving? Or what is it I'm going to try and become better at? Just becoming a better person is kind of a cop-out. It's a nice cop-out. I wouldn't hinder anybody who wanted to do that. But tell me some more. Tell me some more about what you want to become. Feedback can tell you if you're getting there. Or I can show you a scale that's in the book that would help you find out by yourself.
So there's a workbook aspect to this book.
I think so. I mentioned earlier the first thing you could do is just read it and enjoy a quote here and there. That's fine. But I think the book is really kind of demanding a little more of a reader. When they get down to the point of kind of deciding, this is where I am on these traits, and this is where there's a gap and I want to improve, I suggest picking 3 with the biggest gap. If you take kind of like giving is a big one for you, here's where I am, here's where I want to be, it's a big gap, I'd say work on that one. In that sense, it becomes a workbook type thing, that rather than just reading it for fun, enjoyment, which is stage 1, you can get serious about this and say, okay, I think I need to do a little more on this one. So the workbook aspect is clearly there in the appendices, with a couple of subjective scales that are there for you to look at. This is a quotation that kind of inspired me by Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo said, "The way to ascend unto God is to descend into oneself." Now, take the word God and make it simply something bigger than yourself, something infinite, if you're not a real religious person. But the way to get connection with the infinite is to get deeper inside yourself. And that's what the book is really all about, is how to know yourself better. You got to know yourself better, and to take that knowledge and then say, gee, this is where I am, this is where I could get even better than I am, and begin to progress, because you're never through, and you never really find yourself. But this is an inspirational way to get in touch with yourself. That way you'll get in touch with something even bigger than yourself. I think that's true. I think it's true.
I'm beginning to see that these quotes work on many levels and provide many opportunities.
They do. One of the ones that I want to read to you, because I think it's an example of how profound the impact can be of a quotation. This is one example. It's the best example I know, but there are others. This is by William Henley. He said in a poem, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." This was read by Nelson Mandela. The story goes on and says, this quotation from the Henley poem entitled Invictus helped sustain Nelson Mandela spiritually during the 27 years he spent imprisoned after being convicted for his anti-apartheid activism. One line of one poem kept sustaining a man for 27 years in prison, who saw himself as the captain of his soul. You guys aren't the captors, are not my captain. I'm the captain of my soul. Led him to come out of imprisonment and become the president of South Africa, forgiving those who had imprisoned him and bringing together the Afrikaners, the whites, and the blacks. What an incredible thing. One poem's line. I am the captain of my soul.
Thank you very much for watching. I'm Jeannie Poole, and this has been an interview with Dr. Kendall Price about his new book, Becoming Yourself, Inspired by Quotations.